Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to today's episode of Bible News Radio. There we go. Now it's on. Well, thank you guys for joining us for today's show. I am your sweet, lovable host, and today we're going to talk about some conflicting reports. Yeah, we are. You know, one of the things that really annoys me is when there are things that are reported and they're sensationalized, but then you begin to read other reports of the same incident and there's some conflict. Just so you know. Yeah, I'm holding my anger in because, you know, I really don't like it when people lie. I really don't. Especially about other things, and especially to advance a movement that's ungodly and called an abomination by God, just so you know. We're also going to talk about some of the latest news coming out of the Carolinas, as well as some Christian persecution news. Yep, believe it or not, it's still happening, but there is hope, people. Yeah, there is. So I want to share this out here on Twitter. Welcome all you guys in there. Also, the Lord's Prayer is under attack, as you guys probably know. But then again, when is it not under attack? So I saw my dad today. I'm just killing time so I can share this out on Facebook. It's interesting when you're dealing with a population of people that have dementia. You know that? Okay, here we go. I'm going to shut that down. Yeah, I am. Hello, Stephen. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and share this on Facebook. Right there. Oh, wait. Yeah, technically it didn't go over 3 minutes, so I started it in the middle of the show. You probably didn't even notice. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and share that right here. Okay. Okay, everybody. So thank you for tuning in, assuming anybody lets you see the show. Thank you for watching the archive as well. Those of you. Hold on a second. I'm going to turn that down too. Okay, we got a lot to cover during this hour. Tomorrow, I have a guest. My guest is Stephen Black. Mr. Black is on the show tomorrow from First Stones Ministries. And he's going to be giving you the latest from that world, fighting the news media and those who like to say that homosexuals can't change. Stephen will be here again to share some of the latest results of his research. So be sure that you're with us tomorrow because Stephen always delivers the thing with a punch. Yeah, he does. All right, so I want to start this show out talking about a couple of things. I'm going to get to the Lord's Prayer story probably near the end or the bottom of the hour. But I got to talk about this story that I came across over on Pink News because when I read a story of a hate crime or something against the homosexual community, number one, I always look for the truth because, you know, I know that there's hate against everybody, right? I mean, the Christian persecution is way more rampant than persecution against gays, just so you know. But when I read a story that is sensationalized with headlines like this, gay couple attacked with petrol and die in a gas chamber graffiti, or the headline reads, let's see here, gay couple had gasoline poured over them in homophobic attack, or couple have gasoline poured over them in vicious homophobic attack in Verona, or the other headline, which I'm still waiting for it to load, says here, gasoline on the doorstep, comma, attack on the gay couple. And then I begin reading the different stories, you know, the different versions of the story. You know, something goes up in me because I've covered so many of these stories. And if you actually just read the headline to these, as with any news article, actually, you know, but specifically with the homosexual media, often the actual event versus the headline is extremely different. In fact, my friend Darren actually left a comment on my Facebook page earlier to an article titled a gay journalist said this: LGBT media outlets use, quote, fake news to advance movement. And, you know, if you have never watched our show, then you probably aren't aware of how much fake news there is out there. But that is true. It's completely true, because in the world of the homosexual media, you cannot have anything bad ever said about any homosexual, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, or questioning, or whatever type person. No bad news allowed, unless it's news against them, and usually that's blown way out of proportion, which I think this story is. I'm going to start with the Pink News article that is titled "Gay Couple Attacked with Petrol and Die in a Gas Chamber, Graffiti." Now, the way that's a bad headline, first of all, because if you don't even read it, like if you don't read the whole thing, you think that this homosexual couple had gasoline poured all over them and then they died in a gas chamber, right? I mean, because the word graffiti doesn't like stand out a whole lot. But what's even sicker to me about this is the age difference between these two people. But I'm going to read this to you. This is from Pink News. It says a gay couple has had petrol thrown at them after unidentified attackers daubed Nazi-inspired graffiti on their home. Angelo Amato and Andrea Gardoni, who live in Stalavena, I don't know if I'm saying any of these things right, but whatever, a small town near Verona, Italy, had swastikas spray painted on the side of their home, along with anti-gay messages, including, "We will put you all in the gas chambers." The attack took place amid a rising atmosphere of intolerance in the country, propelled by the recent entry of far-right party Northern League into a coalition government with the populist Five Star Movement. By the way, before I go on any further, I should say, and I shouldn't have to say this, but I will, I condemn any attack on anybody. Duh, hello. Normal people do that. Normal people actually condemn hateful attacks on other people. My point in bringing this to you is there's a couple of points, but my point in bringing this to you is, number one, to show you the bias and how they do this, how they mislead, and also to point out something obvious that nobody even got. Anyway, it says here, last month, Northern League leader Matteo Salvini, who serves as a deputy prime minister, interior minister, called same-sex partners unnatural and vowed to keep all families heterosexual. Now, I haven't done any research yet to see what happened to Matteo when he said that, but Dollars and Donuts, he was viciously attacked by the gay community as a result. Probably had a lot of harassing phone calls, probably, you know, his life was probably threatened, his property was probably vandalized, because that's what they do. The gay community does that. The activist gay community does. Anyway, it says here, the remark came after the country's families minister, Northern League politician Lorenzo Fontana, said gay families don't exist legally in Italy. When Amato, 59 years old, and Gardoni, 23 years old, heard noises outside last Wednesday, September 12th, they thought it was their cat trying to come back inside, according to Italian local news outlet La Arena. Gardoni opened the door to see an unidentified attacker pouring petrol on his doorstep. Seeing him, the perpetrator threw some of the toxic liquid at his face. The victim, feeling his eyes burning and fearing that he would go blind, went straight to the emergency room. He was discharged with a clean bill of health, but the incident has left the couple shaken. The messages left outside their home included one which read, "Burn faggots." Their car's tires were also slashed, and a swastika was emblazoned on the rear window. And by the way, there are pictures of this, but again, it's interesting to me. So one of the things that stood out to me in this particular piece about this was the age difference between the couple, the homosexual couple that apparently is, quote, married, unquote, in where they live, even though marriages are apparently not like recognized in that country, but somehow they're married. But there's a 36-year difference here between this man and this young man. And one of the reports that I read that that the young man was 20 when he married this guy who was 56 at the time. So the young man is now 23, and the perverted old man is 59. So I don't know about you, but my question is, how come the media isn't covering that vast, almost two generational difference, in age, because it's pretty normal for older men to seduce younger men into this lifestyle, and it's pretty normal that the older men, they go after what they call tenderloins, people who are innocent, in order to sodomize them without any risk of disease. I mean, that's basically how it's done in the homosexual community, with older men preying on younger men. In fact, I would venture to guess, if we were to dig more and find out more, I would venture to guess that this older man probably preyed on this guy when he was a teenager, because that's what man-boy lovers do. But let's look at the next article, though, and read you a different version of the story, because there's definitely a different version. I'm waiting for my computer to let me flip the screen. Okay, so the La Arena story, I don't think I gave you this one, Randall.
No.
But this one is actually the Italian paper, and the headline for this is "Gasoline on the Doorstep, Attack on the Gay Couple." So that's quite different than having gasoline poured all over the gay couple, right? But so it says here, an intimidating act that could have far worse consequences between Wednesday and Thursday. Angelo Amato, 59 years old, and Andrea Gardoni, 23, married couple in Spain, already in the limelight in the news in August for an assault suffered in Piazza Bra, were in their home when they heard noises outside. The two live in a terraced houses. Thinking it was their cat that wanted to go home, Gardoni opened the door and saw a person who poured liquid, which then turned out to be gasoline, at the door. The stranger threw the gas at him and then disappeared without setting fire. Verona Emergenza was also called on the spot more than anything else because of the young man's shock and the fact that he was suffering pain in one eye. The two also showed the homophobic inscriptions found outside the house and spoke of letters and threats. So there's that one. So this actually is interesting, because this article actually shows the pictures, but the other ones don't. And it shows a flat tire of the car and all that. And this one, we kind of get an idea that it was the young man who probably got some of the gas thrown at him, and maybe got one drop or something like that in the eye. But now let's read this article over on out.com. Now, this is titled, "Gay Couple Had Gasoline Poured Over Them in Homophobic Attack." So when I think of something being poured over somebody, I think of a big thing, a vessel with liquid in it, literally poured over the top of their head, and that they're drenched in it. That's what I think of, just so you know. So it says here, as Attitude reported, married couple Andrea Gardoni and Angelo Amato were attacked in Verona, where they now live, last week. Apparently, the couple woke up after hearing noises outside. When Gardoni opened the door, someone poured gasoline over him before running away. So did they actually pour gasoline, or did they splash it? Because the other one suggested it was thrown at him, which is quite different. It's actually quite different to actually, the way I've envisioned this is, okay, here's this creep who was doing this in the first place, pouring the gasoline, and then the guy woke up, opened the door, and he threw it like that, and then ran away. That's kind of how I picture it, not how this is written, that, all of a sudden, he's pouring the gasoline, and then, oh wait, they opened, so he stepped up and they poured it all over him. That's kind of the picture that I get. Anyway, so it says here, in a statement, he said, "At first, I didn't realize it was gasoline. All I could feel was the skin of my face, my eyes, and my throat burning." The couple actually found 3 empty tanks of gas outside of their house, and the attacker reportedly painted swastikas on the wall and wrote Nazi slurs, including "faggots burn," and "we will send you all to the gas chambers." The couple was also attacked last year after a group of men insulted and slapped them. So that's interesting that this couple apparently is insulted by a group of men. Although, of course, we don't know the context of that, but that was kind of interesting. So there's that. And then in the last article about this, as I'm waiting for my computer to let me change the page, this one's over on attitude.co.uk, and the title of the article is "Couple Have Gasoline Poured Over Them in Vicious Homophobic Attack in Verona." Andrea Gardoni and Angelo Amato were also attacked by a group of men last year. A couple have been attacked in a vicious homophobic assault for the second time. Andrea Gardoni and Angelo Amato got married in Spain 3 years ago and now live in Verona, but on Thursday, September 13th, the couple woke up after hearing noises outside their home. When they opened the door, Andrea saw a dark figure who poured gasoline over him before running away. He told the Post, "At first, I didn't realize it was gasoline. All I could feel was the skin of my face, my eyes, and my throat burning." The couple then found 3 empty tanks outside their door, and the attacker had reportedly painted swastikas on the wall, wrote Nazi slurs including "faggots burn," and "we will send you all to the gas chambers." This isn't the first attack the couple have experienced after they were insulted and slapped by a group of men last year. Gabriele Piazzoni, the National Secretary of Italian LGBTI group Arc Gay, said, "It's a terrible aggression, unprecedented. We are witnessing a very serious increase in violence in which the homophobic and transphobic hatred takes on dramatic and absolutely alarming forms. The fascists are now out of control, legitimized by a policy that uses their own arguments and makes them strong. We ask the whole anti-fascist community of this country to take action." So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting too. Again, so basically, it sounds like, to me, there was somebody who decided they were going to graffiti these guys' house and the car, which I kind of find interesting. I don't know how they knew it was their car, but whatever. And the couple initially thought it was their cat, which is so stereotypical of gay men couples, right? They all have cats. I don't get that. Poor cats. I don't know why cats are the, predominant pet for homosexual couples, but whatever. But the cat apparently is okay. And so either the gasoline was poured all over them or it was thrown in their face, but either way,
but just one of them, not both, apparently.
yeah, just one of them, and apparently it was like the youngest one, I guess. So the question is, what is the truth? And why is this in the media? And why was this particular couple with the really gross age difference, why was this couple assaulted, and insulted last year? And who was it? Was it by other gay men that did this? Or was it actually, there's
Wussy straight men who slapped instead of punched.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that it's kind of.
I shouldn't say such things, but it does seem odd for.
It's
if there's some burly man whose masculinity is threatened by homosexuals, and who's not man enough, who's not secure in his masculinity, has to insult some homosexual to come and insult them, doesn't seem like the type to slap. Someone who's insecure in their masculinity is going to try to come off as all macho as possible. And slapping somebody doesn't seem like, unless it's an Italian thing, I don't know,
but
slap somebody.
It really bothers me about the reporting of this because
it's a little bit sloppy.
It's extremely sloppy, and nobody has mentioned the 36-year age difference between the older man and the young guy, okay?
Sure.
And the fact of the matter is, man-boy love, that's what they call it, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, Sex Before 8, or It's Too Late, they advocate this type of behavior and predation of older men preying on younger men. And the kid was 20 when he got married, barely old enough to be an adult, in my opinion. I mean, really, your brain doesn't even fully develop till you're 25. So, I mean, I look at the couple, I look at the picture, and I just I really want to smack the older guy and just say, really, dude, what is your issue? Because this is totally inappropriate.
Well, yeah, but if they're in the world, I expect the world to behave like the world.
I know. I just
However, I don't know where you found the English version of the La Reina article,
it actually translated it
okay.
from Italian into English.
But I was following along in the Italian as you're reading it. Not that I really speak Italian, but it's close enough.
That would be news to me.
But
I've known you a long time.
But as one of the Romance languages, it's close enough to Spanish and French that you can, get the gist of it.
Thank you for the hearts, people.
Anyway.
Thank you for watching over there on Facebook. I appreciate it.
But yeah, the one from the Strictly reporting, the newspaper, the local newspaper, the one that isn't Pink News or some sort of, editorial kind of paper. That's just news. It was interesting. They reported these things, and they said thrown at his face, and they said they spoke of letters and threats, and they didn't, they didn't go much into that. This is kind of the reportedly, and they seem to be a little more objective, the Italian paper. But what is interesting to me is, especially in the Pink News and the Attitude, whatever, and the other more editorial pieces, it's not like we need to bring these people to justice or this person to justice, whoever it is that attacked us.
There's none of that in there.
No, we need to reform the country, and we need to, whoever it was, we don't really care. They're emboldened by this government, and we need to shut this government speech down, is what we need to do. That's what's responsible for this.
That's right out of the playbook, too.
Yeah, it's like, well, what about the person that actually poured the gasoline? And what about the person that's spray painting? There didn't seem to be any interest in catching that person.
Where is this news in regular media, though? It's only in homosexual media. It's not in...
No, that's not true. It's in the Italian paper, the local paper.
Okay. All right. Well...
Which was the one that seemed to be more objective and just reporting some facts.
Yeah.
And this is what they used, reportedly a lot. This is what was reported. This is what was reported.
Yeah.
And the other ones use the, headlines, gas poured over them, in a vicious homophobic attack. And whereas the Italian, the local paper that just reported on just the local happenings wasn't so inflammatory. Just, like I say, a lot more objective. And so it'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save those guys' names in a Google News alert, and I'm going to see when they come up again. Because just like Charlie Rogers, the lesbian who committed the fake hate crime against herself, and it got national news and major outcry here in America, she not only did graffiti on her house, but she decided she was going to set something on fire as well. Mm-hmm. And also cried out to the media, and the whole media was like in an outrage about it. And then she took all her clothes off, ran naked across the lawn to her neighbor's house where her elderly neighbor was sitting at the bedside of her husband of numerous decades who was about ready to die. And Charlie Rogers disrupted that woman in the early hours, and then was later busted by the police and shown that she was a liar and had set the whole thing up. And then Charlie Rogers, on top of all that, decided she was going to skip her probation hearing and get out of going to jail, which eventually fortunately she ended up going to jail. But it's interesting to me that there's fire,
and
gas, graffiti, all that stuff involved in these hate crimes against homosexuals. And I'm like...
The ones that turn out to be not.
Yeah. And so I'm just, call me skeptical.
Yeah, the graffiti on the garage, and that turned out to be false report as well.
Yeah. It bothers me.
Yeah, again,
because
long ago I condemn any such sort of attack.
But this type
of there's been so many of these cried wolf things,
Right. It's inflammatory reporting, though, because it's not accurate.
Yeah.
And again, it makes
It's
it,
conflicting anyway. They
and,
can't all be true.
and if you're following my series, Marketing of Homosexuality to America, note the association with Nazism, you know, and that type of thing, because that's how the marketing goes. It's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and bunch in anybody who opposes homosexuality. We're going to make them look like a Nazi, and just make them look evil and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, okay, so a guy who's 36 years older than his partner or his husband, there's nothing evil with that. Really? Because that's pretty gross, in my opinion. And I would condemn that even if it was an older woman or an older man with a younger woman. If I saw an older man, like almost 40 years older than his wife, I would be seriously going, okay, what is the issue here?
And everybody else would too.
Yeah, but because it's a boy or, an alleged man, he's a little bit older
This
than
is
a boy.
two men. Can't touch that. It's
No,
protected class.
I just think that's, call me a weirdo, but I just think that's wrong. Okay, so now let's get to the atheist group that is suing a West Virginia city for reciting the Lord's Prayer at meetings. So as my friend Gordon Klingenschmidt says, the atheist complainers are at it again. So it says here, sign up, okay, blah, blah, okay, blah, blah, okay, there, blah, blah. Okay, it says here, council members of Parkersburg, West Virginia hold a meeting. A Wisconsin-based atheist organization has filed a lawsuit against a West Virginia city over the local government's practice of opening official meetings with reciting of the Lord's Prayer. The Freedom from Religion Foundation filed the suit on Tuesday against the city of Parkersburg in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of West Virginia. In their complaint, the FFRF stated that Parkersburg cannot open its city council meetings with the Lord's Prayer, nor can they encourage attendees to participate. The city council's recitation of the Lord's Prayer has the primary effect of both advancing religion and expressing defendants' preference for Christianity above all other religions and non-religion. The city council members have coerced participation in religion by leading meetings attendees in the Lord's Prayer and intimidating non-participants. Yeah. Wait, hold on just a second. So, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm an atheist. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared right now. I'm totally freaking out because I'm hearing the Lord's Prayer, which is usually said in a soft way. It's so intimidating to a non-person. It's oh, drives me crazy. Anyway, it says here, the suit was filed on behalf of two local residents, one who identifies as an atheist, the other as an agnostic atheist, who attended multiple meetings and felt unwelcome due to the prayer and the apparent expectation that they participate. Mayor Tom Joyce defended the practice that the prayer takes place before the meeting and no one is invited to rise and join. So, again, here you go. This is such false baloney. You have these people who get offended when they could easily get up and leave during the prayer, or, they could just read their phone or whatever it is heck they want to do. They don't have to be, but this is what they do. The Freedom from Religion Foundation is nothing but a hate group that bullies city councils, and they target them. Usually what they do is, and they have a campaign. It's a specific campaign. They actually write a letter to these city councils and they threaten them with a lawsuit because, most cities don't have the money, and they don't want to take city attorney money, money from the city to fight these ridiculous accusations. And also, a lot of the city councils today, too, they actually include your atheist or your pagan witch or whoever it is, that wants to give an opening, prayer or whatever it is at the beginning of a city council meeting. And it's just another way that this community likes to bully people. Rather than just deal with it, grow a pair and deal with it, they go and file a lawsuit. And of course, in this case, I have to give kudos to the Mayor Tom Joyce, because you know what? He didn't back down from these bullies, and that's exactly what they are. It just drives me crazy. And yet it's nothing new. It happens all the time. So,
Yeah, I was looking at the local paper reporting on it, the Parkersburg News and Sentinel. It's interesting. There's a couple quotes from the defendants. The city hired this attorney firm, and their response to the plaintiffs. There's two in here I want to read
okay.
that I think are really good.
The plaintiffs?
The defendants
Okay.
and the response to the plaintiffs. The plaintiffs will be the Freedom from Religion Foundation, whatever.
The atheist complainers.
The atheist complainers. Anyway, a couple of things in response. Yeah, like this. They said, in short, the plaintiffs would only be satisfied if this court were to be hostile to religion, which is forbidden under the Constitution, the response says. They do not come to this court with a case or controversy, but rather with an agenda to divorce prayer, any prayer, from the function of government. And
right.
Very astute response and observation, and one more. There's several good things in here, but this one stood out to me as others. While the plaintiffs allege in detail their internal feelings about the council's practice, they have not alleged any facts that could possibly demonstrate that the prayer is, quote, means to coerce or intimidate others, unquote. So apparently that's what the plaintiff says, that it means to coerce and intimidate others. It's like, and the defendant's response is, well, yeah, they allege in detail all their feelings about it, but they've not alleged any facts that could plausibly demonstrate that it's that at all.
Well, if it's like some of the other people that have filed lawsuits, whether it's even with the gay community or this, the facts are, well, I have sleepless nights, I have post-traumatic stress, I have indigestion, I have diarrhea as a result, my stomach is upset, I have severe migraine headaches, seriously, in some of these complaints, that's what they say that they suffered, severe emotional distress.
And I will recover with $4.5 million that will take care of all of my medical needs. And I will be miraculously healed as soon as the settlement is
because
made.
I'll have the money to go get what I want. Yeah, don't be deceived. Also, I don't know if did I send you the Oregon ad battle, the atheist versus Hobby Lobby?
No, you did not.
Okay, so this is another one. This one was short. So this was over on OregonFaithReport.com, and it's titled Oregon Ad Battle, Atheist versus Hobby Lobby. The nature and narrative of America's religious history is being battled out with full-page ads in the state's largest newspaper. First, it was Hobby Lobby placing a full page in the Oregonian on Independence Day. Now, this weekend, the Freedom from Religion Foundation used the upcoming Constitution Day, September 18th, which is today, by the way, as perfect timing to place a full-page ad in the Sunday Oregonian and Monday's Oregonian entitled Celebrate Our Godless Constitution. The ad also highlights the phrase, "In reason we trust," and features 6 American founding father quotes that speak about their secular observations or their criticism of modern religions. So they quote Thomas Paine and Benjamin Franklin and George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison. And then they give quotes, and then the Hobby Lobby Independence Day ad starts out, "Land of the free and home of the brave, blessed is the nation whose God is Lord," and then it gives some quotes there too. Yeah. Anyway, so it's it's just a contrasting worldview on that one. It's kind of funny.
Well, I guess Constitution Day was yesterday.
Yeah, but for some reason it's mentioning it today, and I don't know why. All I know
I missed it.
Yeah, well, it shows how good you are doing media then, doesn't it? All right, so if you're new to the show, I am Stacy Lynn Harp, your sweet and lovable host. Hey, by the way, I'm wearing my sweet and lovable shirt today. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. Can you see that?
Okay, now.
Okay, that's my sweet and lovable shirt. If anybody wants one, you can get one on my website. and you can walk around and have people read on your chest that you're sweet and lovable, just like me. Actually, I never thought about the double meaning of having sweet and lovable on top of my breast, but just saying, you know, now that you've thought that now. Anyway, yeah, you can go to BibleNewsRadio.com and you can get it. You can actually get a Bible News Radio shirt. You can get cups. You can get sweet and lovable shirts. You can get what's the other one I got? I have I love you in a non-gay way. You can get that one. You can get a coffee cup that says sweet and lovable on it. You
Or
can
a
get one that says
skateboard
be
or
bold, stand up, and go with
underwear
God.
or
You can get one with my tagline: "Be bold, stand up, go with God, because He loves you." Well, that part isn't on there because He loves you. That's not on there. But be bold, stand up, go with God. That's on a coffee cup too. You can get that too at our website, and you can sign up for our email list, which I encourage you to do because I send out email on Thursday. It's the day I do, and you can join our text message list if you want daily text messages from me. Text the term Bible News to 33222. Just say, hey, just say text Bible News 33222. This is a text message service I pay for to send out those text messages to you. Of course, you can stop getting text messages at any time if you'd like. But I don't know why you would, because, if I got a text message from you, I'd be happy. I'd be like, ooh, this is what the topic is today. I'm going to be there. So, yeah, anyway, so you can do that. And then if you want to become a pillar of the community, yeah, you do, then that just means you donate once a month to us. And then we'll give you a gift for doing that. And if you want to join Legal Shield, by the way, I should tell you, Legal Shield is something everybody needs to get for so many reasons. I have a question. What if I was doing some sales training, just as an example, and I was trying to show my team how to sell Legal Shield, just as an example. And I decided that I was going to buy an undercover camera and record my interaction at said businesses I was going to go in. And I was going to see, so I could take that video later and show it to my sales team and show them the great success I have at selling my product. Now, what if you were one of those businesses and you found out that the guy that was prospecting you to sell a product about legal services was actually breaking the law, or at least at the very least being unethical, by secretly recording you and then showing that video with you and your face and your business name to a group of people, like say over 30,000 people in one group on Facebook? Would you want to buy from that guy? Would you buy from me? I would think not. And yet, that is what one guy in Legal Shield has done. And I called him out on it today. And I asked him, I said, so my question for you is, how is this ethical? Just because it's legal to record somebody in another state, you can, as long as one person knows they're being recorded, it's fine. Is it appropriate for you to be posting this video in a group? Well, he says it's a closed group. Well, but it's on Facebook. So I called the companies up, a couple of them. I screenshot the video and the conversation. And I talked to 2 business owners that he did this to, and they were both ticked off. Just saying. So I share that with you, just to let you know that if you work with me as a Legal Shield person, number 1, I would never do that. Number 2, you're going to get great training. In fact, we have, Vicky is our trainer, and all that, and we're going to give you some good service, with the product, because the product actually pays for itself. And so you need to just know that, everybody needs identity theft protection. It's rampant out there. I'm not going to, spend a lot of time on this show talking about that again, but if it's something you've been thinking about, make sure you do it as soon as you can, because you know what? Christmas is coming, and these people who steal and they do these unethical things, you're going to need to be protected. And the fact that Legal Shield has um, over 83% retention rate with membership should tell you how good the product is and how good it works. I mean, honestly, there's no other direct sales company where you can actually get unlimited legal advice for under $25 a month, plus your will done and a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, it's actually a steal. So if you have an extra $25 for Legal Shield a month, get it. It will definitely pay for itself. If you are somebody, if you have an extra $9.95 a month for identity theft protection, get it. Stop putting it off. Get it done, because if you don't have it, it's going to cost you more when that situation comes up than if you actually had it now. And that's the truth. It's totally the truth. I have to also say that if you want to sell it and become an associate, now is a super good time to do it, because they have just changed their compensation plan and made it way easier for you to earn bonuses. And, and again, the training is, I mean, if you just need leadership training, their corporate training is excellent. If you actually take time to go through it and you read everything and you follow up on everything, you can have this business starting at $99. That's all it costs, and plus $20 for your mobile prospecting app, which is what you want. So $99 is to get in the door, and $20 a month to run it. That's it. You can make that money back like that if you actually do the work and apply yourself. So, I mean, with one sale, you can actually make that back. So if you're interested in that, contact me. I will train you personally, and you'll get your money back, and you'll have some money for Christmas that you won't have, and you'll be building your own business, which is totally cool. Let's see. That's illegal to record without letting the other party know you're recording. Apparently in Arizona, it's not. So each state has different laws. But my beef was not only with them recording it, but them posting it in this group with 30,000 members and all that. And both business owners I talked to were not happy when they found it out. So just saying. All right. Am I forgetting anything? Because I have one more story to cover.
Yeah, you've got more than one more story to cover.
Okay.
But you've...
Oh, Ariel Ministries.
I was going to say, you've not mentioned Ariel Ministries.
I actually have a pretty bad headache right now, actually. So, I've had it all, actually, since I woke up. Ariel Ministries. Well, why don't you do it, since you're over there. You're the one clicking, so you go ahead and do that one.
Sure.
Okay.
This program is brought to you in part by Ariel Ministries. You can find them online at ariel.org. That's ARIEL.org. A wonderful source of biblical resources from a Messianic Jewish perspective, but that, to me, that's synonymous with biblical. When you look at the scholarly work of Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum and others that are involved in that ministry, it's just solid biblical stuff. And right now, if you head on over to BibleNewsRadio.com, you're not on our mailing list, go ahead and click the button at the top of any page that says get a free Messianic Bible study on the rapture of the church. Click that, give us your name and email address, and we'll send to you for free that Messianic Bible study on the rapture of the church for joining our email list. And there'll be a different offer each month for those that are already on our list that should be available to you. I believe that's in the just like in the footer or something on the email, or somewhere in the body of the email, right? She's not listening.
What did you say?
I said for those already on the email list.
It's in the email. I already sent it out
it's
twice.
in the body of the email, yeah.
Yeah.
But also on our website, BibleNewsRadio.com, if you head over to the resources page, you'll find some recommended resources for growing in your faith and knowledge of the scriptures and the Messiah. Most of them, but not all of them, from Ariel Ministries, some great stuff. I would really encourage you to check out Israel Betrayed, uh, starting, of course, with Volume 1, The History of Replacement Theology. Of course, replacement theology is a false theology that tells that the Gentile church has replaced Israel, that God is through with that people and with that nation. But that's completely unbiblical if you know anything about, well, the Bible. If you just read it, it's plain to see that God is not through with Israel.
Yep.
And click the details button there, and that will take you to the product site on Ariel's ministry page. And remember that you can save 20% on anything at any time over on Ariel.org when you use the coupon code Bible News. So check it out, peeps. Check it out.
That's right. Check it out. Okay, and hi to everybody. Thanks for coming in, Rex. No feet. And I will say hi to John and hi to Melanie and Mia and Dottie and Jeff. Thank you for coming in. And whoever else might be watching over there on Facebook. Hello. Thank you for coming in. Okay, so this last story is jihadists hijacked his Christian prison ministry, and a mom kicked him out. Now this chaplain is heading back in. A Christian pastor whose prison ministry in South London was targeted by Muslims has been reinstated after he was kicked out. Volunteer chaplain Paul Song had been sharing the gospel with inmates at Brixton Prison since 1998, with many of them becoming Christians. But last year, Islamic militants attacked his classes and physically assaulted him and abused him because of his Christian faith. My classes were often disrupted, Pastor Song told the Mail on Sunday. At times, inmates openly spoke in the chapel in support of Islamic State and suicide bombers, and there was nothing I could do about it. They spoke with such hatred of Britain that it was frightening. He also said radical Muslims boasted about the murder of a man named Lee Rigby, who was killed by jihadis on a street in London. Pastor Song and his Bible classes came under intense pressure after a Muslim imam was appointed as a head chaplain in the prison back in 2015. By the way, this isn't unusual because Islam is recruiting in the prisons, in case you didn't know that. Pastor Song said the imam began scrutinizing the Christian material he used in his Bible classes, claiming it was, quote, too radical, unquote, and called his Christian views, quote, extreme, unquote. They are mainstream courses used by churches throughout the world, Pastor Song explained. The imam said he wanted to change the Christian domination within the prison. Of course he does. Pastor Song continued, the imam said I couldn't use the chapel, so I held a prayer meeting in a cell, but the imam got to hear about it and was furious. He is very big, physically intimidating, and he kept urging me to just leave. I thought about it, but I also thought, why should I give in? Song said Muslim gangs often threatened inmates to convert to Islam. After 19 years of ministry at the prison, Pastor Song was dismissed from the jail over claims that he called one inmate a terrorist and that he was spreading radical Christianity.
I hope so.
He knew that the imam was behind the false allegations, of course. Christian Concern worked on his behalf, and a petition to reinstate him was signed by over 40,000 people. Then his case was reviewed by government officials. The findings of the review read, the decision to exclude Paul Song from HMB Brixton is not a reasonable one. Due process was not followed in line with PSI 42/2014 for the exclusion of an individual. I, therefore, recommend that Paul Song be reinstated as a volunteer chaplain at HMP Brixton. Pastor Song rejoiced over the decision to allow his ministry to continue. Thanks be to God for what he's done for me, for all the British Christians. Pastor Song said in a video posted by Christian Concern, my victory is not only my victory, it's a victory for all British Christians. I can't express how much great things God has done for me, not only for myself, but all our congregation, all these 43,000 people who gave petition for me to reinstate in the Brixton prison, he said. It's amazing and it's a blessing. That's why we love to go back to Brixton Prison again and to share the good news of the Lord Jesus, Pastor Song said. So there you go. Again, it's just another bullying tactic by Islam and the imam in there. Hopefully the imam that's doing this will actually take time to read the Bible and get saved. But it's good. I'm happy that 43,000 people, give or take, signed that petition in order to get him back reinstated. I think that's wonderful. So that is very important.
They could be out there, and maybe there is, but I have yet to read a testimony of someone who converted to Islam, who was rationally persuaded, that thought through it and was intellectually persuaded to make that decision, to whether from atheism to Islam, from Christianity, Islam, from Buddhism to Islam, or whatever, from non-belief to Islamic belief. I have yet to hear or read the testimony of someone who was, came to a decision, an intellectual decision, to follow Islam instead of whatever viewpoint they held.
True.
More than likely, it's, as it was said in this article, about the Muslim gangs threatening people to convert to Islam. I mean, that's the way it spread in the beginning. You look back to the beginnings of Islam, and it's always been spread by the sword, and thereafter by birth. If you're born into a Muslim family, you're Muslim.
Yeah.
And if you leave it, then your family is threatened, or you're threatened, or
yeah. And there was actually reported, I forgot who it was that reported it on one of my Facebook feeds. I saw that there was 2 Christians that were they were just killed a couple days ago, when some Islamic terrorists decided to come on board and basically told everybody to show us your ID, and the Muslims were told to recite their prayer thing, and the 2 Christians that were there, they decided to die for Christ because they weren't going to. So I want to thank Stephen, who sent me some stuff from earlier today. I texted out my message to all you guys on my text message list. I didn't get anybody responding but Stephen. So Stephen wanted me to cover some of the news coming out of North Carolina. So this was over on WRAL.com. It's Wilmington. It's titled "Nightmare That Won't End. Storm Evacuees Can't Return Yet." And I'll just read it. It says here, hundreds of people waited in long lines for water and other essentials Tuesday in Wilmington, still mostly cut off by high water days after Hurricane Florence unleashed epic floods, and North Carolina's governor pleaded with more than 10,000 evacuees around the state not to return home yet. So, I mean, this is horrible. So many people have, they can't go back to their houses. I'm sure most of them are underwater. It says here the death toll rose to at least 35 in 3 states, with 27 fatalities in North Carolina, as Florence's remnants went in 2 directions. Water flowed downstream toward the Carolina coast, and storms moved through the northeast, where flash floods hit New Hampshire and New York State. That's not good. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper warned that the flooding set off by as much as 3 feet of rain from Florence is far from over and will get worse in places. It says here, I know for many people this feels like a nightmare that just won't end. Addressing roughly 10,000 people who remain in shelters and countless more staying elsewhere, Cooper urged residents to stay put for now, particularly those from the hardest hit coastal counties that include Wilmington, near where Florence blew ashore on Friday. Roads remain treacherous, he said, and some are still being closed for the first time as rivers swelled by torrential rains inland drained toward the Atlantic. I know it was hard to leave home. It is even harder to wait and wonder whether you even have a home to go back to, Cooper said. In Wilmington, population 120,000, workers began handing out supplies using a system that resembled a giant fast food drive-through. Drivers pulled up to a line of pallets, placed an order, and left without having to get out. A woman blew a whistle each time drivers were supposed to pull forward. Todd Treeman
Jermaine.
needed tarps to cover up spots where Florence's winds ripped shingles off his roof. The roof is leaking, messing up inside of the house, he said. Others got a case of bottled water or military MREs or field rations. An olive drab military forklift moved around huge pallets loaded with supplies. Brandon, somebody, struggled to stay composed as he described life post Florence. No power for days, rotted meat in the freezer, no water or food, and just one bath in a week. It's been pretty bad, said this guy who's 34 years old. Nearby, about 200 people lined up to buy 40-pound bags of ice as quickly as a Rose Ice and Coal Company could produce it. Supplies have been brought into the city by big military trucks and helicopters, which also have been used to pluck hundreds of desperate people from atop homes and other structures. Mayor Bill Sappho said 2 routes were now open into Wilmington, which had been completely cut off by floodwaters, but those roads could close again as water swells the Cape Fear River on the city's west side. We are still encouraging or asking folks not to come home, said Woody White, chairman of the new Hanover County Commissioners. We want you here, we love you, we miss you, but access to Wilmington is still very limited and is not improving as quickly as we would like. At Fayetteville, about 100 miles inland near the Army's sprawling Fort Bragg, the Cape Fear River had risen about 50 feet toward a crest that was predicted to be more than 25 feet above flood level. On Tuesday, logs and other debris became trapped under a rail bridge as pushing down the water, as rushing brown water pushed against the span. The river swallowed trees, lampposts, and a parking lot near its banks. City officials warned that still rising water threatened some neighborhoods and businesses that seemed safe, but said the worst was nearly over and life was beginning to return to normal downtown. Businesses were reopening and owners were removing sandbags and plywood from storefronts. Human and animal waste is mixing with the swirling floodwaters, which have killed about 1.7 million chickens on poultry farms. That's not good, so the price of chicken is going to go up, probably. More than 5 million gallons of partially treated sewage spilled into Cape Fear River after power went out at a treatment plant. And the earthen dam of a pond holding hog waste was breached, spilling its contents. A dozen more such pits, which contain animal feces and urine, were damaged. The governor said 16 rivers statewide were at major flood stage and more than 1,100 roads were closed. Emergency workers reported rescuing and evacuating more than 2,200 people and around 575 animals. In a bright spot, the Lumber River appeared to be falling in hard-hit Lumberton about 70 miles inland. Power outages in the southeast also were down from a high of more than 910,000 to about 310,000, nearly all in North Carolina. The White House said President Donald Trump will visit North Carolina on Wednesday to see the damage. Earlier, he boasted on Twitter, "Right now, everybody is saying what a great job we are doing with Hurricane Florence, and they are 100% correct." He warned that the Democrats will soon start criticizing the government response, and this will be a total lie, but that's what they do, and everybody knows it. Well, it's actually true. The dead include a 1-year-old boy who was swept away from his mother after his mother drove into floodwaters and lost her grip on him. Authorities in Virginia said a man was killed Tuesday when his pickup truck was caught in a flash flood. And there's some video. I mean, you can go and watch some of the video on there, but there's some video on there that is so bad. I mean, there's a freeway basically that's literally underwater, and they actually reported in there that it's like at some places it's 9 feet of water. So I mean it's crazy. I mean that's really really it's horrible. So
yeah, so many times people in these situations will come upon a road that's flooded, and they'll think, well, I'm going to just drive, carefully across, and don't realize how deep it is and how fast that water is moving. And time and time again, I've read where that's such a problem, and people get stock swept away, etc. And so I would throw that out as a word of caution. If you come to a place where there's water going across the road, when in doubt, don't. I mean, find another way. Don't try to cross it where there's water moving across the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard for sure. So I know, a lot of you have donated to the Red Cross or whatever relief organization that you want. So you can do that as God leads you to, and of course, pray for those who are in those areas, because God forbid any of us be in that situation, because it could happen anywhere, and all that. So that's anyway. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So tomorrow, Stephen Black from First Stone Ministries is going to join us to talk about his book and also the latest battle that's going on with trying to silence homosexuals who actually decide they don't want to walk and live in that lifestyle. So if you know somebody who may be struggling with that, have them join our show tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central Time, where we'll have Stephen on the show talking about his testimony, the work of First Stone Ministries there out of Oklahoma, and more. So do that tomorrow, and hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Okay? All right. So if you guys need anything, remember you can text me 33222 Bible News. You can join my email list at BibleNewsRadio.com. You can donate over there as well. You can become a pillar of the community. You can support our trip to Oklahoma. We're still in need about $700 for that. Let's see what else. And if you want Legal Shield or to talk about that and get set up to be an associate or to get it for yourself, then let me know so we can get you signed up. Again, this is insurance, honestly, that you can use every day if you choose to. It's unlimited access to an attorney law firm, and it's only $25 a month. So can't beat it. And identity theft is $9.95 a month. Okay, so like for $35 a month, you will be covered, and you get member perks, which are awesome. So contact me. Let's talk. All right, everybody, be bold, stand up, and go with God because He loves you. And we'll see you tomorrow.